This little beauty is the B&S tenor saxophone, commonly known as the B&S Blue label, because normally here it's a blue colour on this B&S sign. It seems to have fallen off here, so it's maybe a gold label, but it's normally called the B&S Blue label because that's the nickname for it, because it doesn't have a model name. All I know is that it's an intermediate level tenor saxophone. In my view, I would play it on a pro gig, not a problem. I think it's a solid instrument, and when I say a solid instrument, that means it's very good value for money. The tuning's pretty good, and it will hold its own against any other brands. I've played gigs where you've had players on so-called top level saxophones, and I've played one of these things or something of the same category, and it's held its own. Maybe it's because it's not always about the instrument. It's how you approach it and your confidence in yourself and your confidence in your ability and the playing. It doesn't matter. I mean, Charlie Parker, for example, he would turn up at gigs with no instrument, whatever mouthpiece he's got, and just play it. So he could play on a piece of plumbing and make it sound good, I'm sure. But the point is, it doesn't matter about these levels. That's what I'm trying to get to. Levels of instrument. Oh, it's this level. It's intermediate. It's professional. Yes, I understand that for quality control. Say a cheap Chinese, for example, $200 saxophone can also sound as good as, say, a $5,000 other branded instrument. I've seen videos. I've seen people on YouTube playing cheap, so-called not so good instruments and making them sound great. So that's my point. So an intermediate level B&S, for me as a pro player, I would use this on a gig any day. That's not a problem. It's always about the approach. But anyway, my preaching over. Let's get back to the saxophone. This is, as I say, large bore. That means I can shovel so much air through it without that resistance that, say, a Selmer or Yanagisawa or a Yamaha has. So I can push more air through, have a fatter spread sound, have a little bit more power and volume, but still keep my edge and brightness. So I kind of lean towards large bore instruments, and that reflects on my main horn, which is my Yamaha. I've had it slightly expanded here. I did it myself because I'm also a technician. And I had a V1 silver neck added, and I expanded that as well. So I've expanded the bore, and it really helped me because I'm a pretty louder on the spectrum player, because I'm used to playing in pop, funk bands, jazz combos, and I have my own jazz funk fusion band. So you can imagine it. It's not really playing Girl from Ipanema, playing very quiet and chilled out, or playing Misty. It's, come on, let's do some Brecker Brothers and Chromosome or whatever, Skunk Funk, here we go. So you can imagine, I need a bit of extra power. So having large bore instruments or modifying my Yamaha helps a lot. So going back to the tenor again, these are very good value for money, in my opinion. You're getting the power, the tone is really good, and they're easy on the fingers. They shouldn't be overlooked. These intermediate level saxophones, I think they're great as a step up for an absolute beginner, or even as a pro, having a backup horn, or even as a main horn. That said, this thing has a huge sound. Now I'm going to play away from the camera, and I'm going to play it nice and soft. So let's hit a chord on the keyboard. Let's just say B flat major 7 on the keyboard, B flat major 9. Nice warm mellow sound. Now let's do something a bit more dramatic. Let's think. Ah yes, G7, sharp 9, sharp 5. Okay. G7, sharp 9, sharp 5. There's a sharp 5, sharp 9. And let's add something a bit more interesting. Yes, I'll add E, which turns it 13. So I have a keyboard in front of me, of course, and that's just to add a bit more context, because when I'm noodling around on the saxophone, I'm just playing around the background and playing whatever comes to my head. But having a chord I can play along to, it sounds a little bit nicer. So let's try another chord. I know. A7, flat 9, flat 5, with a 13th added, which is this. There's the A, 7th, which is a G, 7th again, flat 9, 3 C sharp, E flat for the flat 5, now 13 will be F sharp. How dramatic that chord is. Now I'll put like a little cadenza on the saxophone along to that. Here we go. So we have this chord, here we go. So you can do that sort of like overtone thing on it. Let's do the chord again. Fun. So now you've got context when I'm noodling what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll play this diminished thing, maybe I'll play a flat 5. I'm just playing this muscle memory stuff. But when I'm putting chords to it, now you can hear the colour that's going on. Now let's play something like a major chord. Let's think, okay, F major 7th, F major 9. There's the 9. It's a G. And guess what? This tenor was absolutely fine. My point is, it doesn't matter what saxophone you're playing, it's your attitude and how you approach it. Of course, if you've got a piece of crap, it's going to be difficult, but if you've got a horn that's in decent shape and playing fine, you don't need a top of the range instrument. An intermediate horn will do the job just as fine. Let's do one more chord anyway. Let's think. Aha! Yes. You see, I'm just making this as I go along. That's called being an improviser, jazz. So let's think. Aha! Yes. B flat, major 7th, flat 5. There's a flat 5, the E. Anyway, I wish you a great day. That was Noodle Around on an intermediate so-called horn, the B&S tenor saxophone. Great value for money. And it's all in the approach and the attitude of how you think, how you play. Just enjoy playing. Don't care. Anybody says, just go for it regardless what your horn is. Enjoy it. Anyway, have a great day.